Have you ever stopped to think about how much you are paying, silently, just to be accepted? I'm not talking about money or time. I'm talking about something deeper, your identity. Every time you mold yourself to fit into someone else's mold, a part of you dies, disguised, slowly, irreversibly. The need to be accepted is one of the oldest human instincts. We inherited it from tribal survival. Rejection meant death. But what was once a matter of life and death has now become an emotional prison. And the worst part? You don't even notice the chains. You start by saying, "It's okay," when you're actually uncomfortable. You laugh at jokes that aren't funny. You accept invitations you hate, and you defend ideas you don't believe in, all to avoid the discomfort of being different. The problem is that this quest for acceptance is endless. It's a bottomless pit, because with every concession, the standard of external demands rises, and with every adaptation, you move further away from your essence. You become a character trained to be loved, but condemned to live a false life. This is how self-destruction begins, not with explosions, but with silences. Not with big decisions, but with small daily yeses that add up to tons of submission. You slowly fade away. And one day you realize you no longer know who you are, what you want, or why you are so exhausted. Society applauds your education, but doesn't see your agony. And you, in trying to be accepted by everyone, are being rejected by yourself. Now stop and think, who are you trying to please? And what are you losing by doing so? Being a good person seems like a virtue, until it becomes a sentence of invisibility. From an early age, many learn that the way to be loved is to please, to obey, to give in, to be understanding, kind, available, the famous good guy or good girl. But what seems morally correct hides a perverse dynamic. You erase your boundaries in the name of an affection that never comes fully. Being the good guy in the story is the fastest way to lose respect, including your own. Because when you try to be the safe choice for everyone, you become forgettable, neutral, no edges, no identity, a generic product of other people's convenience. And there's more. The more you are the good guy, the more people expect it from you. Your no becomes an offense. Your fatigue is ignored. Your opinion becomes rebellion. Because you taught the world to treat you like someone who never imposes. That's the trap. You build an image of acceptance, but the cost is your authenticity. There is no room for desire, anger, mistakes, or disagreement. Everything human in you needs to be edited, pruned, silenced. The result? An active social life, but emotionally empty. Many around you, few who really know who you are. Pleasant to everyone, intimate with no one. Being good is not the problem. The problem is being domesticated. And when kindness becomes an obligation, it ceases to be a virtue and becomes camouflaged submission. Saying yes may seem like a noble gesture, but when repeated without awareness, it ceases to be a choice and becomes a sentence. Most people don't realize how trapped they are in the habit of pleasing others. They say yes on impulse. They accept requests that go against their boundaries. They take on tasks they don't want to do, and they make promises that suffocate them. All this to maintain an image of someone who is reliable, available, or simply easy to get along with. But the price of this constant yes is brutal. Every time you accept something you don't want, you are trading pieces of your freedom for crumbs of acceptance. It seems like little at first, but that's how the prison cell begins. A favor here, a concession there. And when you realize it, you no longer know what is your own will and what is social conditioning. This behavior has a name: validation, dependency, and it operates with a cruel logic. The more you try to please, the more others feel they have the right to demand. Your yes ceases to be gratitude and becomes obligation. You're not being kind, you're being used. Yes becomes an emotional prison because it prevents you from prioritizing yourself. What's more, it teaches you that your desires are less important than the expectations of others. Deep down, it's a form of self-abandonment disguised as empathy. And here's the naked truth. The world won't stop asking. It's up to you to decide how far you'll go. Because if you don't start setting boundaries, no one will give you back your freedom. You seek approval, adapt, exhaust yourself, and then seek even more approval. That's not kindness. It's emotional dependence disguised as empathy. The cycle begins with a simple gesture. You realize that someone likes something you do, so you repeat it, and repeat it again. Little by little, it becomes the norm. Not because it makes sense to you, but because it guarantees a nod, a smile, a "I like you." It's addictive. The feeling of being accepted numbs any trace of authenticity, but soon the side effects kick in. By adapting too much, you start to feel like you're missing something. Your spontaneity disappears, your opinion is silenced. You become a character of yourself, an I designed to fit the expectations of others. This creates internal discomfort, and the brain, seeking relief, runs back to what is familiar. More adaptation, more pleasing, more attempts to be loved. And the cycle begins again. The worst part is that the more you mold yourself, the weaker you feel, because you realize that you are putting your self-esteem in the hands of others. Your identity begins to depend on your environment. And since the environment changes all the time, your emotional peace becomes hostage to external fluctuations. This is the heart of submission, a mental loop that convinces you that pleasing others is about survival, when in fact, it's just a slow path to self-denial. Breaking free from this cycle requires brutal awareness. It requires admitting that pleasing others too much is often a desperate attempt to avoid rejection. But the rejection that hurts the most doesn't come from others. It comes from yourself. When you look in the mirror and no longer recognize yourself, you can hide it with smiles. You can say that everything is fine. You can continue giving in, keeping quiet, accepting. But the body does not lie. Emotional submission does not stay in the mind. It seeps into the body. Anxiety, unexplained pain, insomnia, gastritis, chronic tension. These are real symptoms but with invisible roots. Constant self-denial. When you force yourself to live to please others, your nervous system goes into alert mode. It's as if your body is screaming what your mouth doesn't have the courage to say. You start living under constant internal pressure, trying to maintain an image of balance while inside you are falling apart. This pattern has a name: adaptive stress, and it destroys silently. Because when you force yourself to be what others expect of you, you live in a state of constant performance, and that takes a physical toll. Your sleep worsens, your energy disappears, your immunity drops. And you know what's cruel? The more you suffer, the more you think you need to try harder. You interpret your exhaustion as a sign of weakness, not as an alarm. And then you try even harder. You work harder, you smile more, you give more of yourself, while your body falls apart. Submission is not just an emotional issue. It is a progressive disease that begins in the soul and ends in the body. And your body, even without words, has been trying to warn you for a long time. So think honestly, what symptoms has your body been showing in response to your constant denial? Not all surrender is love. Sometimes it is fear in disguise, disguised neediness, submission varnished with romanticism. How many times have you heard or said phrases like, "I do everything for him. She is my life. Without you, I am nothing." It sounds beautiful. It seems intense. But behind many of these statements lies a silent imbalance. The complete dissolution of the self in the name of the other. This kind of love does not strengthen. It imprisons. It is a relationship based on asymmetry. One gives everything. The other demands everything. One fades away, the other shines. And this is sold as proof of dedication, when in fact, it is a form of emotional domination. Emotional submission begins with small gestures. You give up your plans, silence your opinions, tolerate hurtful attitudes, all to keep the peace. Little by little, you believe that this is what love is: adapting, enduring, resisting. And so affection becomes a burden. The cruelest part is that this model of submissive love is often applauded. She does everything for him. He never complains about anything. But no one asks, at what cost? What is this person swallowing, hiding, destroying inside to maintain this appearance of harmony? Submission is not love. True love does not require you to annul yourself. It does not impose unilateral sacrifice. It does not turn affection into emotional blackmail. If you need to give up who you are to keep someone close, you are not loving. You are begging not to be left. The question is straightforward. How much of what you call love is actually fear of being alone? Not all compliments are sincere. Some are disguised leashes. There is a type of manipulation that few people notice, because it doesn't scream, it caresses. It's strategic praise, the kind that comes with a hidden agenda. You're so understanding. I like you because you never complain. You're different from the others, always so available. It sounds like affection, but it hides an agenda. When you hear this type of phrase often, your brain registers, this is what they expect of me. And because compliments bring a sense of emotional reward, you begin to repeat the behavior that originated them. It's pure conditioning, emotional Pavlov. The problem is that in this game, praise doesn't reinforce who you are. It reinforces who they want you to continue being. And so compliments become an invisible frame. You feel valued, but only as long as you behave in a way that pleases the other person. It's a sneaky control mechanism. The other person doesn't need to yell, impose, or threaten. All they have to do is praise your submission. The effect is more effective than any scolding. You correct yourself. You police yourself to remain the good guy, the ideal partner, the model employee. And what happens when you try to step out of that role? The reaction changes. The praise disappears. Silence, criticism, or passive-aggressive phrases emerge. Wow, you weren't like that before. The message is clear. Either you go back to your character, or you lose the love. Compliments are valuable, but when used as a control tool, they become golden handcuffs. Beautiful on the outside, suffocating on the inside. No one punishes you more than you do. And the worst part is that you don't even realize when you started doing it. Constant submission doesn't just create external victims. It creates a cruel internal judge who watches your every move, demands perfection, requires obedience, and punishes any attempt at autonomy with guilt. You no longer need anyone to criticize you, because you already punish yourself first. It's silent self-sabotage. You feel you don't deserve to say no. You don't think you're worthy of rest or capable of asserting yourself. When something goes right, you sabotage it. When something goes wrong, you blame yourself. It's as if there's an invisible agreement. If I nullify myself enough, maybe they'll accept me. The worst part is that this doesn't come out of nowhere. It often starts in childhood, in contexts where love came with conditions, where being accepted depended on being good, quiet, useful. The child internalizes this. They grow up, and they become adults with a mental script that says, if I disagree, I will be rejected. But now, the voice that once came from outside lives inside you, and it is relentless. It prevents you from growing. It blocks your desires. It distorts your view of yourself. And in the end, it makes you believe that submission is the only safe way to exist. This is the most tragic face of submission, when you no longer need anyone else to control you, because you have learned to control yourself with an iron fist. A self-control that is, in fact, self-denial. Saying no may seem like a simple gesture, but for those who live imprisoned by submission, it is a revolutionary act. The first true no is not just a refusal, it is a declaration of existence. It is when you finally choose your peace instead of the expectations of others. It is when you decide that your will matters even if others do not like it. This no does not have to be aggressive. It does not come with anger. It comes with clarity. It is the moment when you realize that giving in all the time is not love, it is fear, and that the person who needs to hear you the most is yourself. At first, this no is scary, because it can shake bonds, upset relationships, expose your change. But that's exactly where the natural sorting begins. Those who walk away with your no were never really on your side. They were on the side of your submission. Saying no also reveals your new internal standard. It shows that you are no longer willing to be a doormat, an emotional savior, or an emotional puppet. It signals that there is an individual there, and no longer a social role programmed to please. This is the turning point, when you understand that your life only changes when your attitude changes. Not when others change, not when the world recognizes your efforts, but when you have the courage to break the cycle of self-abandonment. No is not about rebellion, it's about rescue. It's when you step out of automatic mode of pleasing others and into conscious mode of existing. The question is, what will be the first no that marks the beginning of your freedom? It's time to kill the domesticated version of yourself. Throughout this video, we reveal the anatomy of submission, the invisible price of acceptance, the cycle of self-denial, the prison of yeses, The compliments that control, the body that gets sick, the love that suffocates, the guilt that paralyzes. Now it's time to choose. Continue pretending or finally exist. The submissive character is comfortable, but it's a prison with cushions. They do everything to be loved, but never feel whole. They seek approval, like someone seeking air, but live in suffocation. They exist for others, and disappear when alone. And here's the crucial point. You weren't born to be what others expect you to be. You were born to be who you are, with everything that entails. Saying no, making people uncomfortable, thinking differently, frustrating expectations, that doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you real. Liberation does not come with a shout. It comes with a silent decision. I will no longer betray myself. I will no longer remain silent out of fear. I will no longer accept the role of an extra in my own life. This symbolic death of the submissive character is the beginning of a life with presence, with truth, with conflict, yes, but also with dignity. Being accepted by others is easy. All you have to do is mold yourself. But being accepted by yourself, that takes courage. So now, the choice is yours. Will you continue to please others in order to be tolerated? Or will you start to make others uncomfortable in order to be respected? If this topic resonates with you, subscribe to our channel to follow our upcoming videos.